Hello, Uta Hagen here again. And you'll notice that it's a little bit different setting than I'm usually posting from. This is my guest bedroom where these beautiful reclaimed wood barn boards are being installed. And I touch it and I feel a closeness with my father's parents who were farmers who had a barn. And that barn is no more. This cannot be wood from that barn because my relatives who got the house and the place, the barn was in disrepair, and so the volunteer fire department burned it down for practice. That's sometimes what happens up in the country. This trans widow's testimony is about Ophelia. Ophelia is another trans widow that I have had many repeated Zoom call contacts and phone calls with. Thank goodness. I'm very pleased for her. She's now remarried to a very nice regular guy. But I'm just going to do a short part one for her. The reason that I am continuing these testimonies and true tales is because the patterns of behavior that our ex-husbands engaged in is all quite similar, quite parallel. We were subjected to narcissistic abuse and financial abuse. And one thing that I want the affirming therapists and the men who ideate a female persona is that your wife might say that she's going to stay at first. And it is likely to be detrimental to her. It is not healthy to be coerced into sex role play and use of equipment that you had no interest in. This fits the pattern of Shannon Thrace, the author of 18 Months, which tells us that she stayed for only 18 months. I did a post about her interview with Megan Murphy on Megan Murphy channel. So this starts out quite a few years ago now when, again, after the birth of a child, when their daughter was 1 year old, this guy who is also not so much like Nettie. Nettie was smaller, but this guy's built like a linebacker. Everybody knows that they are affirming a fantasy. They are not going to pass as female. Although I think in a way I should actually go further into that, because even if this fellow is a sort of slightly built guy, which Nettie wasn't so slightly built, but he had the impression for himself that he was slightly built. The thing is, the proportions are not female. And so even if you are a smaller human being, but you are male, you are not going to, in quotes, pass better. So Ophelia's ex-husband, I'm just trying to think of what his name should be. We're going to call him Xavier. And so Xavier was in graduate school when their child was born for some kind of science PhD at a significant university. And Ophelia had been, until the baby was born, had been the one working while he was going to school. And then all of a sudden, the baby's 1 year old, it's a daughter, he announces to her that he's been cross-dressing and he needs to do this 24/7, and that's how it is. And she did like most of us would do. She packed up and left and went back to live with her mother. And there wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't really great comfort. And of course, you've got a 1-year-old you're probably still nursing, and the baby really needs you. So she stayed away for a year, found it difficult. It was really kind of similar. I found it difficult to be at my parents' house and sort of suddenly be the single mom living with her parents when I was in my 30s. So after a year of living with her mother and trying to make a go of it, with her mother taking care of the child and trying to figure out how she's going to make it financially, not getting any child support, of course, from Xander. Xavier, I think I called him. Okay, so she got lured back. And so she went back, and then she stayed for 10 years. I'll tell some more details about this and what happened years later with the now teenage daughter in a subsequent part. But the punchline here is that her narcissistic husband figured out that she found a boyfriend because, she's a heterosexual woman and she was attracted to someone, that she met in passing over the course of this decade. And Xavier sued Ophelia for divorce on the grounds of infidelity.